Neuroception is about our unconscious attempts of identifying safety and danger in the environment. When you were a kid and you had a lot going on in your environment that you needed yourself to be adjusted to, there were lots of fights between your parents and you had to really adjust yourself. Of course, you will have to manage your nervous system there because it might be scary for you if the parents are fighting or if somebody is angry. For you to be able to feel safe, you might not ask for food then, even if you are hungry. Hello, welcome to the Sticky Thoughts podcast. Here we talk about thoughts that stuck with us. We get honest, we get curious, and we try not to spiral, but no promises. We are your hosts. This is Kajal Singh.
And this is Smriti Kamath, and on this podcast, we are showing up not as psychologists, but as friends who are also psychologists.
Yeah. And today I want to talk about this weird thought that came to me. So last week, I went to this relative's place with my family, my siblings, and we were sitting together having conversations. I mean, they were having conversations, and I was sitting close nearby. And I noticed myself feeling really, not having fun in the conversation, and I felt ki I could use a nap. And I just went inside and I just took a nap. As I woke up, I realized that this is not the first time that I'm doing this here, taking a nap after coming to their place. I just felt like, oh, this is something to think about. And when I did have this thing on my mind, ki why do I feel like taking a nap whenever I go there? What is it? Why do I feel not rested, or why do I feel like I need to lie down when there is a conversation and there are many people talking? Why do I feel this way? And then I came across this reel. So he was talking about this thing called neuroception. Neuroception is about our unconscious attempts of identifying safety and danger in the environment. So it can regulate, the nervous system for it, maybe get ready for it, or maybe be ready to respond to it. And we are continuously, trying to see how the level of energy is in the room, or what is somebody sitting across me is expecting out of me, or somebody sitting behind me, if they are looking at me, if they are trying to judge me. And I am also constantly trying to judge what is needed from me, or what I can contribute in the conversation, in the room, or how do I be? All of us, we sit differently around different people. Our body languages are different around different people. So the thing, neuroception is about identifying or maybe detecting danger and places of safety around us, which is not a very conscious operation. Oh, and this in this reel, it was talking about exteroception and interoception, where exteroception is about trying to really understand what's going on outside of our bodies, outside in our environment. How is somebody feeling, or how are other people talking, their tone, their expressions, and what is it indicating to us for us to be able to respond to it. And interoception is about what's going on in my body. How do I feel? Am I feeling hot? Am I feeling cold? Am I feeling scared? Am I feeling ki my stomach is churning because of something that somebody else said? Or if I'm feeling sweaty because I'm feeling nervous. So interoception is about trying to understand what's going on in your body and then you respond to it. If I'm feeling hot, then I will lower the temperature of the AC because I'm feeling hot.
Okay, Kajal. So, what I'm hearing is that there are three concepts we need to learn right now: neuroception, interoception, exteroception. Neuroception is the overall sense of us scanning for danger, any signs, like our body keeping an eye out for things. And under neuroception, what I'm understanding is there are two concepts: there's interoception and exteroception. Interoception is kind of like us, our body scanning for signs within,
Hmm.
based on our feelings, sensations, everything. Is everything okay? Am I fine? Am I feeling restless. And exteroception is exterior, you can remember it as. Is ki exteroception is us scanning for danger outside. Like, for example, is my friend acting weird? Is my mom acting weird? Why are they acting weird? Did I do something to upset them? Is something about the environment? Can I fix it? And that whole tangent that happens in our mind. So, okay, is it the same for everybody? Like, matlab, does everybody's interoception and exteroception work in the same way?
So it varies actually. The levels of it varies for people. It would vary on the basis of what's needed in the moment. Let's say if when you were a kid and you had a lot going on in your environment that you needed yourself to be adjusted to. There were lots of fights between your parents or amongst, say, in the family, and you had to really adjust yourself. Of course, you will have to manage your nervous system there because it might be scary for you if the parents are fighting or if somebody is angry. Then you can't also be angry because then your needs will not be met of food or maybe or of comfort, etc. For you to be able to feel safe, you will have to maybe be a little softer, and you might not ask for food then, even if you are hungry. So you are changing how you act or what you ask of, what you say, what you do, according to what's going on outside of your body, which is exterior, like you said. So there you will maybe pick up your levels of exteroception, maybe much higher than your interoception, because you can't really pay attention to what you're feeling inside, which is maybe right now hunger, because the situation is a little bit dangerous if you think of only that, because right now you need to respond to what's happening outside. So if you have been doing that for a long time since you were young, then you might have this tendency to have more of exteroception going on for you than interoception. And this is where maybe some of us learn to, pay close attention to what's going on outside of us, what's going on in the environment. I think I know a lot of people, and I also am guilty of this vigilance. Oh, I have to know ki what is everybody's tone. The other day, my sister was telling me that I have this tendency where I am really sensitive whenever I bring in somebody from outside, as in a friend, a new person, in a setting where my siblings are also present. Because of course she is my siblings, so she was only talking in terms of that I feel super sensitive ki they might say something that could hurt my friend or this new person that I'm bringing in for whatever gathering that we are having here. If they're making any sort of joke or if they're making any sort of comment that could have a possibility of them getting hurt or maybe feeling discomfort or maybe feeling not good in any way possible, I would point that out. I would bring that up right there and then. I would ask for like clarification. What did you mean by that? And why would you say it that way? And I do it with the intention so that it clears the air, so that they don't feel bad or they don't take something not good with them outside matlab, from this conversation. Because I really trust my sisters that they would not do anything to hurt anybody. They don't make jokes at the expense of other people. I know that, but others might not know. And these people get really comfortable really quick, my siblings. So I feel this need to really clarify things, so that nobody feels bad. But she was saying that they would feel bad. Matlab, they don't like that I clarify that I feel so protective of my friends in front of them. ऐसे कि maybe I don't trust them with their conduct, etc. Whatever. And फिर we had the talk. That got me thinking कि, oh, do I actually do this? And she was telling me that I always do this. That I do this with any new people that I bring in, all my friends, bagera. It got me thinking कि, oh, is that really true? And then I caught myself in this one incident where, so my mother was outside in the hall. She was working. My sister and I were in our bedroom. And somebody was at the door. I think Papa was at the door. And my mother was working. So the bell was ringing and she didn't want to get up. And she asked, I said, somebody else to open the door. But my sister was on the phone and I was also doing some work. So I told her, and she was just maybe feeling lazy and she didn't want to get up. And I felt this urge because I couldn't see my mother. She was in the other room, but I felt really bad that she must be feeling so bad or anxious that Papa is at the door and nobody is opening the door. I was like, "Ki Didi, why aren't you getting up? Can you please get up?" And by that time, mother already got up and she opened the door and it was sorted. And then I caught myself feeling this way. So maybe it is true that I feel very sensitive or vigilant about what's going on, and I don't want to really discomfort anybody here. When I felt that my mother must be feeling anxious if my father is at the door, I didn't like that, and I wanted to avoid that, stop that. So I did feel that, oh, I'm so sensitive to what might happen outside. It also depends, I think, from situation to situation, because when I was talking about the relative thing, I really paid attention to what was happening inside of me. When I realized that I'm not enjoying this conversation, that I'm not feeling good in the conversation, I am already feeling exhausted with the mental gymnastics that my mind is doing with whatever topic or conversation is here. I just feel nothing is good going to come out of this conversation, or I am not going to have a good time. So why not just take a nap? Go in and take a nap. I think it was an environment where I could pay attention to myself and I did not feel the need to take care of everybody else. But in most other places, I do feel with especially people that I really like and admire and respect, and I want to keep them in my life. I know with friends, it's a little more sensitive than with my siblings. I know that my relationship with my siblings are a lot more concrete. Matlab, I don't have to work on that relationship too much. It is there and it is always going to be there for me. But with the friendships that I have, they might be a little more sensitive. And then the level of delicateness that increases with the newer relationship that you are trying to build. So I think there I feel even more sensitive ki, oh, I have to take care. Even before they say anything, they do anything, assuming everything in my head ki, oh, what might be going on. Do you think that makes any sense to you?
That does make sense. I want to hear a little bit more about. I mean, I'm curious about what happened at the relative's place because even though you're saying ki you taking a nap there was interoception because you were able to listen to your body, I also have a feeling like a lot of exteroception was happening there, and maybe you felt exhausted because of all of it. So the nap almost sounds to me like a shutdown, but then I feel like that is also interrelated to the interoception because then you did take that nap instead of bearing it.
Yeah, I have nothing to say there. I think I totally agree with you. I would call it a shutdown, but I also am able to, I think, recognize that as an adult now, and as somebody who can make decisions now, and as somebody who does not need to actually keep bearing it, be present there,
Yeah.
even though I don't want to. I could take that decision and I could go to the bedroom and just take a nap. Even though everybody was, matlab, I think, a little bit upset because of that key. Why am I taking a nap? We're having a good time here. Why aren't you here? Why aren't you participating? So I was like, yeah, okay. I did go to the bedroom, I took a nap, so I could listen to myself. But of course, what I was listening to was also really impacted by what was going on outside. And not because I was just exhausted. If I had arrived exhausted, क्योंकि maybe I had a long day the previous day, or maybe I could not get enough sleep, then it would be me just listening to my body.
Yeah.
But there, I was actually exhausted with what was going on. Ki baap re baap. If I stay there, I will have to do a lot of regulation. So
ठीक है.
tell me, Smriti, have you experienced anything like this?
Yeah, I feel like what comes up is that exteroception is something a lot of people rely on as a coping mechanism. But I am trying to think of if there might be cases or there might be people who are relying a lot on interoception instead of exteroception. Because I feel like when I think about it, it feels like interoception is our connection to ourselves, like our connection to our body, how well we are able to understand what our body is trying to tell us. So it feels like for most people, when your environment would be pretty turbulent, so it feels like in most cases, in a lot of cases, your attention will turn outward and then you will be responding to things in the environment. And now this is reminding me again of all kinds of responses. I think that our episode on people pleasing is really a great example of exteroception. But I think it is one example. And if you have not watched our episode on people pleasing, you should. Because there it's all about scanning your environment and trying to act according to the environment in the best way to keep everybody comfortable. I think what's also coming up for me is that it does not always have to be that. It does not, I think exteroception does not always have to be people pleasing. Another scenario for me that's coming up is that maybe you're too sensitive about the environment and you're picking up on every little thing, but your response might be different. Like your response to picking up these details from your environment need not always be to accommodate them and prioritize other. I feel like it can sometimes even be, for example, shutting down in some cases, or in some cases lashing out because you are feeling too sensitive about what's happening. Maybe you're feeling like everybody's upset because of me. When the thought is ki everybody's feeling upset because of me, one response is of course ki like how can I mitigate this? How can I make them feel better? I think the other response that also happens for a lot of people is ki why is everybody blaming me for everything? And then I'm lashing out at everybody. Ki, does everybody hold me responsible for everything? And lashing out like that. I think we see a little bit more of that in men. And I think I feel like we see the people pleasy bit a little bit more in women, is what I'm getting from this. I feel like I do see a range of exteroception in me, where I think I've also been lashy. Matlab, I've also lashed out because I felt sensitive about the environment. I feel like I've also been way too over accommodating because of the environment. So that range I can spot in myself, but interoception is something that I'm not sure how much, even if it has happened, I feel like I'm not able to remember it or like come up with an example for that. Making me question ki, are there also people who rely on interoception more or something like that? Because interoception sounds healthy overall. It's like you reading your body's cues to yourself, which I am able to do. So the thing is, this is also bringing up for me right now. It just came to my mind. Okay, I think that I am also somebody who really likes being alone and matlab physically alone, not emotionally alone. But I think it's also because I grew up alone quite a bit because both my parents are working, so I would be home alone quite a bit, I think. So I think I got comfortable with that. And I think ki, when I'm thinking now about me liking to be alone, I think it's also key when I am around people, I feel like there is a lot of exteroception going on the down low, even if it's not required. I feel like it's still going on the down low. So it feels a little bit tiring. Not in like an exhausting, like, oh, I don't want to be around people at all sort of a thing. But I feel like when I'm by myself, there's nothing to exteroceptionate. Like there's nothing to pick up on. There's nothing for me to scan and detect if it's just me. It's like controlling your environment. And I think that is when I can definitely count on my interoception working. In other times, I think I have to put in a little bit more effort to pay attention to what my body is saying. Although I feel like it's happening now, I think that it's not that bad. I would say that if it might be like a 60-40 split, maybe. It's not that bad. But yeah. So I am curious about if you think that there might be also people who rely on interoception more than exteroception.
So I think we really need to concrete or cement this part ki it is a lot around safety. And safety does not always need to be a life or death situation. It can just be emotional safety also. Feeling safe to be yourself, feeling safe to exist, feeling visible, a little bit important, acknowledged, all of that. So if I had to imagine somebody who relies more on interoception, I think it would look like at the family gathering. If I were to rely on interoception and let's say I was feeling really good that day, ठीक है? I was feeling good, I was feeling up, and फिर I noticed कि the conversation there was not on the same frequency as I was feeling. And so, if I were to rely on interoception, I would have said, I don't like this topic of discussion. Maybe if you could change the topic of discussion, ki if you could talk about something else, or if you could do something else, or I could tell them that this conversation is exhausting me. So I think that would be interoception. Ki I am responding to what is going on with me.
I have a feeling, Kajal, that if you could say in that conversation that the conversation is exhausting you, then you wouldn't be a part of an exhausting conversation in the first place. I
Yeah.
feel like that wasn't a possibility in the first place because, I mean, the conversation was exhausting because you couldn't tell them also.
So that is very true. It is very true. But if I were to listen to my body, if I can pick, ki, I am not feeling great about this conversation from this conversation, and I am able to tell them, that would be me taking the risk of telling them, relying on my interoception, and actually listening to my body, ki I'm not feeling good and I don't want to keep feeling this way. I want to change how I'm feeling, which will change with the conversation. And if we change the activity that we're doing, or maybe let's have a hot beverage right now, or let's eat, or let's watch something, and let's not talk at least for some time, whatever. So, what you are saying makes a lot of sense. Of course, it makes a lot of sense. I think what we're talking about here is co regulation. If I am able to tell people कि I'm feeling exhausted and they are able to accept it, receive it,
Respond. Yeah.
And then respond to it, keep, oh, what is exhausting you, maybe? Or, oh, okay, if you don't want to talk about this right now, then let's talk about something else. So it can't be, matlab, I can't just say alone say ki, oh, I am going to be relying and listening to my body, really be in tune with what's going on with
Yeah.
me,
Oh, yeah, that is so true.
irrespective of what's going on outside. I don't think I can do that because it might not be safe. Again, safe emotionally because they might take a lot of offense in it. They might not want to hang out with me anymore. What if they completely just isolate me? What if all of that? So I think all of that was what I was not willing to risk. And so I just got up and took a nap.
That makes a lot of sense. That is a very interesting point. Ki you can't rely on your interoception if the people around you also wouldn't accommodate that. Wait a minute. How do you feel about interoception in this situation? Maybe not being you taking control of the situation in that way, but leaving the room, which is kind of what you did.
Hmm.
So I feel like here it was interoception that you were relying on.
So here, what I also did by getting up and going to take a nap without telling anybody anything was that I also tried not to disrupt what was going on. I was also trying not to bother others when I'm just saying that this conversation is not going to go anywhere. Okay? It's not going to go anywhere good, at least. And I know that I might be wrong, I might be right, whatever, that doesn't matter. But it's important that I put that forward, right? Because here I'm in a social gathering with other people who are supposedly matlab, to be, say, bothered or concerned, or at least would care about what's going on with me also, since I'm also part of that sitting. So if I'm just getting up, so I am trying to regulate myself, of course. But what about telling them that I'm exhausted so that it doesn't happen again? Because I mean, the next time also, because like I told you, it was not the first time that I took that nap. It was, I think, second or the third time that I was doing that. So I will have to keep doing that by myself, and they would keep continue with what they are doing. What I'm not able to do here is that ki end this. Let them know you are exhausting me.
I feel like context matters a lot. Like in the sense ki if you were, for example, doing this at a friend's gathering, because when I say friends, I think I'm adding the element of choice here also, because of course family is family, but then you are choosing your friends. You have chosen these friends, you are choosing to hang out with them. So if, for example, you're in a friend's gathering, but for some reason, maybe because of something you haven't told them yet, or something like a reason to do with you, not with them as such, and your overall relationship. Maybe it's something difficult for you to communicate with them also. And that is why you are feeling exhausted. And in that situation, you're going and taking a nap. Okay. Now, these are good friends who will understand you, who care about you, who will listen to you if you say something is up or that you're feeling exhausted in the situation. They would be curious about why. And if in that case you are not doing it, then I feel like it's a whole different situation. I think that element of choice is different. Because with your friends, at least you have that choice. Like in this example, with your friends, at least this you can also have with family. But in this situation with friends, you do have the choice to tell them, which you're not taking. But here it feels like, on the other hand, with your relatives, it doesn't sound like you had the choice to do that because I don't like, because from what you described, that doesn't seem any realistic possibility to say that and be taken seriously. Like, when you say, okay, I'm exhausted, like this, it would hold value here, but maybe not here. So I feel like in both situations, though, it's sounding to me like this might still be interoception. I feel like with your friends, it's sounding to me a little bit of both exteroception and interoception because ki matlab you are also scanning for their, like you don't want to bother them, maybe. And you're thinking about things like that because they will listen to you if you tell them. But here, I feel like you don't even have the choice. Even if you do want to bother them with that, I don't think they would get bothered with that.
Yeah.
Like that.
And also, let's say whole series of events that happen here in both the scenarios are the same. But what do you think happens after I wake up from the nap at my relatives and after I wake up from the nap at my friends?
Exactly. That is such a good point to bring in because I feel like your friends will ask about that. Your friends will ask about that and be like, what happened? And I feel like, the more I talk about this, the more it's also sounding to me like maybe to some capacity, even the one situation you actually can't do anything about it. So I feel like it's heavily, completely reliant on interoception. And the other part, like this could also happen with a person who does not feel like they would be bothering their friends if they talk about it, you know? Like if, for example, if you do have a little bit of people pleasy tendencies, then maybe you might not want to tell them because you feel like you might be bothering them. But if your friendship is so good, ki you do go to them when something is going on, but this thing is very difficult for you to handle right now. So that is why you can't talk about it. So it can definitely be interoception in this case because even though it's not the best thing to do, it would probably be better if you maybe reach out to your friends. But you can't right now, so you are listening to your body. But in this case, at the end of the day, you are asked about it, and you are asked कि क्या हुआ भाई? So क्यों गई?
And that's how you know कि this environment is safe for me to tell them whatever I'm feeling. And that
Yeah.
again tells us कि it's so much, it's not in isolation. I can't choose just essay by myself कि I am going to be all for me today. है ना? I have to be
Hmm.
given that space to be all me.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, very true. Because otherwise, it would seem like a disrespectful thing you did. Ki,
Yeah.
oh, why is she doing this? Like, udhar bhi they're asking, like in a situation like that, people are. I think it's really funny to me because a lot of times, when people get annoyed at something, I'm like, oh, why would she do something to this? Like, why would they do something? And while they're asking that, they're not actually asking that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like they are asking ki, oh, why are they doing that? But they're not asking ki, like, why are they doing that? Because there must be some reason.
So yeah, so sometimes it's just कि you are wondering why would they do that as a judgment, and other times you're actually asking a question and फिर you will get an answer for that. ठीक है? But try asking the fuck. Okay, cool.
Hmm.
So I think what we learn from this conversation is that all of how you interact with yourself and your environment is also dependent on your environment.
Hmm.
As a kid, is it
Yeah,
is entirely dependent on your environment? Matlab, no questions
of
there.
course.
But as you grow up, it is your environment where you try to maybe again have another visit at how you operate and figure what are the consequences of it. And maybe if you don't like the consequences of it, then you really, really revisit how you operate. And then
Hmm.
do whatever you can with your environment or go to an environment where you are allowed to be yourself.
Yeah. Now that you are aware of what interoception is, and that is basically checking in with your body and seeing what you need, if you are able to read that. So really try to observe where you are able to use interoception in your life.
Interoception, it is just being able to listen to your body. It's just being able to listen and then respond to your body, your bodily needs. If you're feeling exhausted, if your heartbeat is rising, if you're feeling cold or hot, if you're feeling hungry.
This is also making me think about the link between interoception and dissociation. But I feel like that's going to be a very elaborate topic, and I think we should dive into that and give it its own time. So, yeah, stay tuned for that also.
So I think a few ways that we can work on our interoception could be if you notice yourself shutting down a lot, or if you notice yourself lashing out a lot more than you're okay with, more than you like it. Then I think a great way would be to getting aligned or more in tune with your own body so that you're able to identify what your body needs and respond to it instead of just reacting to the situation or reacting to what is everybody else doing or saying. Even the lashing out, even the shutting down is coming from a place of
Disconnection.
coming from a place of disconnection for sure, where you're trying to obtain safety again in all ways you know how. And a great way would be if you are able to identify at least places or people where you happen to really react, where you are not able to listen to your body or listen to your needs anymore. So it'll be a great exercise for you to take special intentioned care before you put yourself in that situation, before you put yourself in front of that person. Few ways that you can try to get in tune with yourself could be, of course, breathing exercises where you pay attention to your breaths. If you want to take long breaths or short breaths, also when you want lots of energy, you do short breaths like a dog. You do that. So that will give you instant sort of energy actually. But when you're trying to calm down, then longer
Hmm.
breaths, intentioned longer breaths could help you. And there are lots of different breath exercises that you can try to do right before or also as a part of your just body check-in, like a daily body check-in.
And the breathing can definitely help us regulate. But I think the first step is also to every day at least try to find one specific time where you are committing to yourself. Ki this time, pay every single day, I am going to check in with myself. Maybe this can be first thing in the morning or maybe at the end of the day. But to definitely make it a point and make it a habit that every single day there's at least one point where you're checking in with yourself. How do you do that? By paying attention to all parts of your body once. A systematic way to do that is this something called as a body scan, where you can try to imagine as if this laser beam is kind of going all through your body. Okay, you sit in one place and then you imagine the laser beam entering your body through your toes, your feet, then moving upwards. Imagine it passing each part of your body into your arms, and as it's passing, try to envision that it's scanning your body for any sensation, any feeling, any temperature changes. Like for example, is this body part hot, cold, normal, can't feel it, fine? Is it a bit shaky? Is it a bit heavy? Do I feel tense there? Especially you might notice that a lot when you come up here and you feel your shoulders, because a lot of us carry tension in our shoulders and neck. And goal here is not even to do anything about it. Like of course when you feel tension in your shoulders or something, I would encourage you to, just stretch it out. But the first thing just to check in and see if there's that tension, see what is going on. And then, accordingly, if you see you are restless and you need some regulation, maybe you do some breathing. If you see you're very tense, or maybe if you're restless, maybe you walk around a little bit, or you feel tense, so you stretch it out. And that is a way you can slowly get into the habit of using interoception more by first making it like this once a day daily checking. And when you get more accustomed to that, you will also start doing it a little bit naturally here and there, ki just checking in with your body and like, oh, how am I feeling, sort of a thing. But that can be a starting point for you.
Yeah. And all of these are tools and techniques to maybe regulate your body. It is not to entirely, I don't want to say heal. I think for you to be able to have a proper, like long term sustainable growth in terms of how your neuroception is working for you and the consequences would be, of course, therapy. But yeah, some of the ways that you can regulate your body, regulate your nervous system would be by breathing exercises and body scan. And a few other things that you could do is, I think I do this a lot, which is humming. So when you hum, you feel this vibration in your chest or also your stomach. So you tend to pay
Mhm.
attention to your stomach, your chest, your breathing, your heartbeats a little bit. And of course, a rhythmic tune is always a pleasant experience for the body and also your nervous system. So just humming or singing a song that works for you also regulates. So we do that a lot,
Yeah.
as a kid, when I used to be like scared of the elevators, etc., I would sing a song inside the elevator just to get
The
through it.
elevator is scary, but I will be fine.
I would not sing
Wow, this should.
about the elevator. That would be
Oh, okay.
creepy. I would sing another song like Dhoom Machale. Really? Yes.
Okay.
There are a lot of other ways, that is hugging, touching yourself to
Yeah.
check the body
Holding yourself
temperature.
as tight as possible. You can even add some taps. The idea is to bring your attention to your body.
Yep. And that brings us to end of this episode. And I would like to know, what was your stickiest thought from the episode, Smriti?
I think the stickiest thought for me is about how interrelated, intertwined interoception and exteroception are, and how the lines can get a little bit blurry at times. Because I feel like when you introduced me to this concept, and you sent me that reel also, and I feel like I saw these as two distinct things, but I feel like the more we kept talking about it, I feel like I realized more and more how much they are intertwined. All the wonderful and amazing, mysterious things our body does to keep us safe and to maintain a sense of safety. What about you? What is your stickiest thought?
I think the conversation around the context of neuroception really humbled me. You can't generalize these things.
Yeah.
It has so much context. Ki when you're with your friends, you're different. When you're with your close siblings, you're different. When you're with your extended relatives, you're different. Your partners, you're different. Your parents, you're different. It really depends on context. And that's why there is no essay one for all technique that anybody
Hmm.
can give you. And if they are
Hmm.
claiming to have that one technique that would work for everyone, it is a lie. It has to be a lie. It is a lie. It can't work
And
for everybody.
yeah, and I feel like very beautifully that is what interoception even is. Keep finding out what works for your body.
Hmm.
And you might not find that out in the first go. Like the first step is of course to check in with your body and maybe do the body scan and check out what is happening in your body. But
Hmm.
what comforts you, what you can do about it is something that's not gonna be the same. Like for example, for some people, breathing does not work at all and
Hmm.
meditating makes them feel more anxious. So it's really so if you are trying and you're starting out now, you're listening to this and you're starting out now, so don't feel discouraged if you try one of these things and you're like, oh my god, this does not work for me at all. So it's okay. Try to figure out different ways and keep trying. Like it's gonna be a trial and error process till you find it. But that is how it is because that whole process is important so that you can get to the other side. A lot of us very naturally feel tired of this process because we might look at two, three very mainstream trendy things that are going on, ki wo ya do breathing, and so we might try those two, three things and then feel like, yeah, isse to kuch bhi nahi ho raha hai. This is useless. I'll not do this.
Hmm.
But yeah, it might take some time to figure out, but it is important and it's necessary, not give up here and get all the way here.
Yeah,
And like you said earlier in the episode, is still going to be a process because not the same thing does not work in all situations. So
that is true.
the main point is you are learning to build that relationship back with your body. And like all relationships, that's going to take its own effort.
That is so true. Yeah, like all the relationships that we work on, we also would need to work on the relationship that we have with ourselves, our body.
Yeah, like for example, when you have a conflict with a friend or something,
Yeah.
the first, and then it gets resolved, and now you know one thing that works or does not work. So,
Hmm.
same thing with your body.
Yes.
Okay, so tell us what was the stickiest thought for you. You can DM us on Instagram. You can leave a comment if you're watching this on YouTube, or you can even email us. Please do reach out. We look forward to interacting with you. And yeah, I hope you have a really nice day and a really nice weekend moving forward.
Yes. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Goodbye. Tada bye bye. Oh. And if this comes out before the new year, Happy New Year. And if this comes out in the new year, then Happy New Year again. Bye.
Bye.
ठीक है, great.